Okay, so we're starting the trim, and I just have a couple clamps clamped on those corbels, and the bottom piece is just laid on there, and the corner piece is just kind of wedged in place. Those are gonna come off and get a fancy router edge, and I put them on there so I could mark everything, and then I'll take them back off and fancy them up and stain them and drill them, and then we'll screw them and plug them on. Something like that. We'll see how it goes. Be back. Okay, so those are all just very precariously sitting in place. I gotta measure and mark the tops and bottoms, and you'll see when I router what I'm doing here why. So that's where we're at. Be back. One other thing I forgot to mention, the top board there is just tacked in place with a couple finish nails, and what I did was sit that up there and mark the rubber along the bottom edge of it, and then trimmed it so that it wraps around the back of that trim but only comes down flush to the bottom of the trim, so it'll be pinched in there and sandwiched between the siding and the trim, and screws through it to keep that edge in place at 70 miles an hour. There you have it. Okay, so after I laid everything out and marked it, I did a little bit of a router edge on it, a little fancy. And I had to figure out where each board was going to intersect. So I'll show you an example of what I'm saying. Like right there, you see that's not routed. That's because a board will come in, and that's why I did what I did and how I did what I did, and yeah, it'll look better when it's on there, you'll understand. So now I'm gonna stain, well, no, first I'm gonna drill everything and do pilot holes for screws with countersinks for plugs, little caps that'll go over the screw heads. So after I drill everything and countersink it, then I'm gonna stain everything. So be back. Okay, so there's all the trim done on one side, and it's all put on with screws that are countersunk. And here's what I was talking about, where something would intersect and I didn't router that. And then I did it, you know, every place there was a screw, I did that, just make it fancy. I don't know. So anyway, over each screw hole there will be a little cap, a little plug. And what I did, and I'll show you that in a second. Okay, so what I did was put the caps in a baggie and stick the brush in there with stain on it and rattle it around real good, and I think I pretty well got them stained. I was gonna glue them in and then just hit the head of each one with stain, but I'm afraid glue will ooze out and then I'll have a spot that I can't stain. So I'm doing it this way. And I gotta put, I don't know, like 55 plugs in there. So I'll start doing that and show you when I come back. And one thing I should mention, when you're dealing with this stain, what I'm using is early American Minwax, but any of these stains have linseed oil in them. And the rags from linseed oil can spontaneously combust. And I actually almost had a fire in my shop years and years ago because I didn't heed that warning. So I've really paid close attention to that since. Get your rags outside, lay them out flat where they're not bundled up. I had a kind of a stain-soaked rag inside a plastic bag where it couldn't breathe and dry out, and it did start to smolder. Luckily, I smelled the smoke and avoided a disaster. Anyway, there's a bunch of plugs all stained and ready to glue in as soon as the stain dries, and I'll be back. Okay, so there's what the buttons look like. And I got my helper with me. What I'm doing, I grabbed a few Q-tips and some tight bond, and I'm putting the glue in the holes with the Q-tip, and then tapping the plug in. And they do fit tight. You got to kind of tap them in with a hammer, which is a good thing. Anyway, I got about 12 done, and I got about 40 to go. I'm back at it. Okay, one side done, all the plugs in. I took a wet paper towel and wiped the excess glue off around the plugs, and I think we're pretty good. So, on to the next side sometime here. Hi, so I wanted to do the front tongue end of the Vardo next. And I belong to a Facebook page called Gypsy Vardo, the original tiny house. And on that site, there's a member by the name of Amber. And Amber has a beautiful red Vardo that she has done hand-painted Griffins and scroll work and pinstriping and just gorgeous work. And I wanted something similar, inspired by what she did, and didn't know if I could do, well, I know I can't do as good a work as she does, but maybe acceptable. And the members of that page kept encouraging me to give it a try. So I thought I would and see how it came out, and I don't know, maybe I got lucky, but it, I think, came out halfway decent. So here it is. So first, here's Amber's. You can see some of her other painting, but there's the Griffins. So I found these Griffins on the net and kind of liked them and decided to give these a try. Okay, so I started painting, and then it's November here in Ohio, and the weather got just too cold for the paint to dry and cure properly. So I got this far and then had to wait till it warmed up a little more. Good morning. All right, so I'm excited. Here's the game plan. I've got all the wood trim done on the street side of the Gypsy wagon, and the siding's on the front and the back, and of course the street side. The curb side is still covered in plastic. The siding isn't on it, and the only reason is it's covered really well and can't get wet, hasn't got wet. And weather, it's late November. Today's Black Friday, and there just isn't going to be much more good weather, so I've left that covered. I'm going to finish, the goal today is to finish the wood trim on the front end, and I already started painting a Griffin on the front end, and it's kind of cool. It's coming out all right. I'm no fantastic artist, but I'm kind of proud of it. It's not looking bad. Anyway, the goal today, we're headed to get lumber, and we're gonna finish the trim on the front end, and then that's probably gonna be a wrap for the outside until spring. I'm just tired of being cold and working outside in this weather. This morning it was 27 degrees, but it's supposed to go up to 45 degrees this afternoon, and this is the first time we've seen the sun in 10 days here in Northeast Ohio. So it's going to be a beautiful day, 45 degrees, and we're going to do some wood trim. And we can stand it in the shop in the heat, and it won't be bad at all getting it put on in this weather. So I got up early and got my coffee, and now we're headed for Menards, which I'm hoping isn't going to be a real bad mistake on Black Friday. But at least it's a lumber yard and not, God, if I had to go to Walmart, I think I'd want to shoot myself. So anyway, it's trim day, and we're going to put wood trim on, and we might even, if things go well, and the sun stays up, and it stays warm enough, we might even get a little painting done on that Griffin, and maybe get it finished. We'll see. So, I'll be back. Okay, it was a mistake. That's the back of the checkout line. That's the parking lot entry. The road into the place. Not even the parking lot. That's just the road in. Okay, so I got that much trim on. And of course these holes here, the screw holes, will get plugs like there, like that. There you go. All the screw holes are plugged. And these will too. And it looks kind of cool when you get the big picture. Okay, I'll be back with more. So there's where I am now. It's very time consuming. I started this, well, it's probably close to noon though I got started because of Black Friday. Thank you, shoppers. And it's like 2:30, 2:15, so I got 3 hours till dark. I'm sure I'll get the trim done, but I am not sure. Hi, Christiane, you just posted. Ding. So anyway, I doubt I'll get anything more done on the Griffin. So the next day it rained all day. But 2 days later, on Sunday, it was another beautiful day. And I was able to finish painting the Griffin. I'm not the best artist in the world, but I think it came out pretty good. Hey, if you like my videos, please hit thumbs up and subscribe. And keep watching. See you next video.